Talizawa, thank you for joining us. Here are the weekly highlights of Arakan. KBZ account freeze disrupts remittance services in Arakan State. ULA health authorities issue dengue alert as cases rise in Arakan State. ULA launches teacher exams and staff audit to strengthen education system in Arakan State. 5 displaced traders missing for more than 2 months after returning from Maungdaw. Nearly 4,000 people from Arakan State forcibly conscripted over the past year, monitoring group says. Displaced residents drive rise in property sales in Thandwe. For over 2 years, the fires of conflict have swept across Arakan State as the Arakan Army relentlessly presses forward with its offensives against the Myanmar junta. In this week's digest, covering June 8 to June 14, 2026, we break down the key military maneuvers, regional news, and critical highlights shaping the crisis in Arakan. KBZ account freeze disrupts remittance services in Arakan State. A critical financial crisis is unfolding in Arakan State, where the freezing of Kamboja Bank and KBZ Pay mobile accounts has completely disrupted vital remittance services. Local business operators warn this will worsen severe cash shortages, particularly in areas controlled by the Arakan Army. The restrictions emerged immediately following a scheduled KBZ system upgrade on June 11th. While KBZ Bank has offered no public explanation, local agents report the freeze primarily targets accounts handling large transaction volumes, with conventional banking heavily restricted since late 2023 due to armed conflict and transport blocks. Residents have become entirely dependent on digital platforms like KBZ Pay, Wave Pay, and online banking for daily commerce and family survival. KBZ Bank's public notice stated that digital services would only be offline for a 3.5-hour maintenance window on the night of June 11th. However, merchants and residents confirmed that many accounts remain entirely inaccessible. Business owners are now warning of severe consequences, saying that prolonged digital restrictions will choke supply chains by disrupting currency exchanges and blocking essential payments to suppliers. ULA health authorities issue dengue alert as cases rise in Arakan State. The Department of Public Health under the United League of Arakan has stepped up public awareness campaigns and preventive measures in response to a rise in dengue fever cases during the monsoon season in Arakan State. According to ULA health authorities, dengue cases were first detected on April 28th through routine patient admissions at hospitals across the state. Currently, 33 dengue patients are receiving treatment in Rakhine, Maungdaw, Rakhine, Maungdaw, and Remittance townships. Before the onset of the rainy season, the ULA Department of Public Health distributed arbate larvicide, malathion insecticide, medical equipment, and essential medicines to healthcare facilities to help prepare for a possible increase in cases. Health officials urged residents to seek immediate medical attention. If patients develop warning signs such as nosebleeds, persistent vomiting dark-colored fluid, bleeding gums, restlessness, or unusually cold hands and feet following high fever. According to public health records, Arakan State recorded 2,452 dengue cases and 8 deaths between 2022 and 2025. ULA health data showed that Maungdaw Township recorded the highest number of dengue cases during the period, with 942 cases, followed by Maungdaw Township with 704 cases. ULA launches teacher exams and staff audit to strengthen education system in Arakan State. The Department of Education under the United League of Arakan Army, has introduced mandatory qualifying examinations for primary, middle, and high school teachers as part of efforts to strengthen and formalize the education system in areas under its control. Local education officials said, the examinations are intended to improve teaching standards and review staffing records across schools and ULA-administered areas. According to education officials, the review process is aimed at identifying teachers who have left the profession, relocated outside Arakan State, or are engaged in other occupations while still listed as serving teachers. The ULA has established separate departments responsible for basic education, higher education, teacher training, examinations, and curriculum development as part of efforts to build an independent education system. The education sector in Arakan State has faced significant disruption due to years of conflict, which displaced many teachers and interrupted regular schooling. Teachers in Maungdaw district also welcomed the examinations, saying they could help improve professionalism and accountability within the teaching workforce. During the early stages of ULA administration, many volunteer teachers received only modest community-supported allowances because sufficient funding was not available for regular salaries. Local sources said the ULA has now allocated a budget for teacher salaries, though details of the payment system have not yet been publicly announced. 5 displaced traders missing for more than 2 months after returning from Maungdaw. 5 internally displaced persons, IDPs, who went missing in Remittance Township while returning from a trading trip to Maungdaw have remained unaccounted for more than 2 months, causing growing concern among their families. The 5 men who were sheltering in Ngowawente village in Maungdaw Township had traveled to Maungdaw by boat to sell crabs. Family members last had contact with the group on April 1st when they arrived at Longshang village in Remittance Township during their return home. Relatives identified 4 of the missing men as Ko Nai Lin Su, 28, Ko Min Tae Aung, 32, Ko Maungdaw, 21, and U Kim Maung E, 42. According to relatives, missing person reports were filed with police stations in Remittance and Maungdaw Townships, but no information has emerged so far. Relatives said the traders were carrying more than 30 million jets earned from crab sales, along with their 2 boats. The missing men had been displaced since late 2023 due to fighting during the battle for control of Maungdaw town and had relied on cross-township trade to support their families. Nearly 4,000 people from Arakan State forcibly conscripted over the past year, monitoring group says. Myanmar's military junta forcibly conscripted 3,993 people from Arakan State between May 2025 and May 2026, making the state one of the regions most affected by regime's nationwide military recruitment campaign. According to a report released by Unlawful Conscription Watch UCW data showed that Mandalay region recorded the highest number of forced conscription cases nationwide, with 9,434 followed by Arakan State and Ayeyarwady region. According to the monitoring group's records, those conscripted from Arakan State included 1,331 men, 1 woman, and 2,661 individuals whose gender could not be independently verified. Rights advocates said many of these conscripted were detained at military checkpoints while attempting to leave Arakan State due to ongoing conflict. Others included internally displaced persons, IDPs, and migrant workers employed in Yangon. The movement of young people out of Arakan State has increased due to economic hardship, limited job opportunities, and disruptions to education caused by the conflict. However, local sources said many travelers have been detained at checkpoints and forced to military service. The military activated the military service law in February 2024 following significant battlefield losses and growing manpower shortages. The monitoring group said the military has now reached its 23rd training intake. Based on an estimated 5,000 recruits per intake, independent observers estimate that more than 120,000 people have been recruited since the program began. Displaced residents drive rise in property sales in Thandwe. A growing number of properties are being put up for sale in Thandwe Township as displaced residents seek to liquidate assets amid ongoing security concerns and economic hardship, local real estate brokers said on Friday. The properties being offered for sale include homes in urban wards of Thandwe, as well as vacant plots along the Thandwe-Ngapali Road. According to local brokers, many of the sellers are residents who fled the township due to conflict and are now living in other parts of Myanmar. Local community activists have also urged the United League of Arakan Army to closely monitor land transactions and verify ownership records to prevent potential disputes involving previously acquired properties. However, the tourism sector has largely collapsed due to the conflict, while local fishing activities have also been affected by the security concerns at sea, contributing to rising unemployment and economic difficulties. The Arakan Army took control of Thandwe Township in September 2024. Since then, the ULA has been working to restore administrative functions and public services in the area. That concludes our overview of this week's defining events across Arakan State. As the situation continues to unfold, we'll be back next Tuesday to bring you the vital stories and updates shaping the region. Stay tuned and stay informed. May all people of Arakan and the world stay healthy and safe.